What's going on, everybody? This is Economic News Insights, and today we're going to compare gold versus Bitcoin. So, for those of you who are invested in either of these assets, you may find this to be an interesting comparison. But many of you are probably on the fence about which one to go with. I've done both, and we're going to compare them side by side. So if you're just now tuning in, you're new to this channel, you can subscribe to the channel here. But we're going to talk about some of the things that you need to know when comparing the two. So let's get into this. First up, what is the benefit of gold? Well, gold is 5,000 years old. It's been the global reserve currency recently, as of before 1972, 1971, before Nixon took us off the gold standard. It does have a supply that is scarce, but also in cases where gold price goes up a lot, then also mining companies find it to be useful to go out there and go mine more gold. There is low volatility, so it's got a high market cap. I believe the market cap is around 13. Let's see, gold market cap. I believe it's around 13 trillion, something around there. Yeah, gold is 14 trillion now, Bitcoin being 1.34 trillion. So that's a big consideration, which we'll be touching on in a little bit here. So low volatility because it's already got a lot of capital already involved. It's a proven inflation hedge. So as inflation happens, gold goes up, as we've seen pretty consistently. Now, the portability is low. It's a physical metal. The storage is a little bit complicated with gold because you've always got to make sure you've got safe custody of it, whether it's in your house or whether it's in a bank. And there is a little bit of price involved in the storage, and it can be inconvenient. Central banks and institutions are also on board with it. They accept gold as a reserve currency to the dollar even. But transparency, there are limited transparency. Like there is even a conversation about people being able to create gold, okay? Like make gold in a lab. This is something that's come up recently. Like we've seen this with diamonds as well. So can they manufacture gold? Like, is that a problem moving forward as technology evolves? And then there's low government risk. Like governments aren't typically trying to crack down on gold, people who own gold, although we've seen that in the past. And then things that drive the price of gold, you have geopolitics, inflation rates, all things that are happening right now. The 10% ROI is stable, but it's not explosive. Now, if we compare that to Bitcoin, Bitcoin's only been around since 2019 or 2009. That's 16 years. Now, something that you have to take into consideration with the supply, there's only ever going to be 21 million. 19 million of those are already created. So let me know who's out there. Smash up the likes if you guys can hear me, by the way. I already have some likes coming in. Thank you. We're a new channel. And then, so 19 million already being created. They'll have halvings every 4 years where the mining output gets slower, but it's going to take over 100 years for that to happen. So Satoshi Nakamoto and the team behind that definitely created something that they thought through quite extensively. Now, the volatility is high with Bitcoin. You get charts that go like this, up and down. With that, high volatility, it's good for swing trading, and people like that, but it's not necessarily good for store of value. Although if you look at the chart for Bitcoin over time, it has been proven to be a better store of value than gold, depending on the price you typically buy. But if you take a long-term perspective, you're winning with Bitcoin so far, right? Now, that high volatility makes it an opportunity, but high risk, right? Inflation hedge, it's emerging with some strong upside. So Bitcoin, it appears, is coming along to say, hey, gold, get ready, we're coming for you. And younger people are stepping on board with that. Older people are not. And it's kind of creating a wealth transfer. And it's a wealth transfer that's a bit needed, where the younger generations are now getting access to wealth and the older generations are not getting access to it. Obviously, we want older generations to have money so that they're in their retirement living a healthy, successful life. But we know that the baby boomers hold a lot of the wealth, and the young millennials and the Gen Z, they just don't have the money. And those are the ones who are going to drive this economy moving forward. It's the young people. They got the stamina, they got the energy. So something like Bitcoin gives them that energy and that stamina to build. And it's going to happen soon enough because we need it. We need that youth and vitality in the economy, because the old money is tied up. It's slow. It's not productive. It's not efficient money. It's healthy money, I guess you could say, in some regards, because it's conservative, but it's not productive really. We've seen this. I mean, the money is tied up. Now, as far as the portability, it does have it's digital, it's instant transfer, so you can easily move the money quite easily. Whereas with gold, it's like you got to go down there to the gold dealer, or you got to order it online, and it takes a while to get to you. With Bitcoin, boom, bing, go right away. Storage, digital wallets, although it's easier to store, you can store it on a wallet, cold wallet, hot wallet, whatever you choose. But there are risks involved with that. So it's not completely free of risk. Whereas, with the storage in a physical vault, you can pretty much confirm it's there by looking at it. With a digital vault or a digital wallet, you can confirm it's there by looking at it. But, it's hard to say which one's more secure. But I would say I would lean more towards the convenience of a wallet holding the wealth, especially as security continues to ramp up. And I think in crypto and digital assets, security is going to be a big opportunity for those who are developing security options that provide solutions for people. Because the physical vaults, I mean, for the gold, we've already seen where they're going to take that. We've seen the extent of where that's going. I mean, it's not going to really evolve or adapt anymore. So you could see the technology is evolving, the opportunities are evolving more with the Bitcoin stuff. Liquidity. If you look at the liquidity of Bitcoin, it is highly liquid on exchanges globally. So that's something to take into consideration. There's a lot of Bitcoin on exchanges, and that's creating some scarcity. Actually, as time goes by, more and more buyers are coming in to scoop it all up. So adoption, it's increasing. ETFs, nation states, investors. We've seen Saudi Arabia, Qatar, U.S. government. China has some Bitcoin. The ETFs, we've seen BlackRock, we've seen MicroStrategy or Strategy now, what they're doing, and others are copying them. Now, the transparency for gold versus Bitcoin, if you look at the transparency on the blockchain, the wallets that hold the most Bitcoin. You don't know exactly who holds the most gold. I mean, you can speculate that there's gold in Fort Knox, but if you can't see it, it's not on a blockchain, you can't verify it. With blockchain, you can. So it's fully transparent. As an investor, who the whales are, who's the manipulators and all that. With gold, you just don't know who's going to possibly dump on you or anything like that. Some people would say, well, I want that privacy, I don't want people to know how many I hold, but they don't know by name. They just know by the blockchain address anyway. So it's still anonymous. The big thing that people want out of that is they just want to know where the big holders are and if they're moving their coins or if they're moving something around to make a sale. That's what people are looking for with the transparency. With the government risk, it's getting less dangerous with the regulations and bans, but there's still a little bit of risk in some places like China. I don't think the U.S. is completely out of the woods, although we've made strides with Bitcoin to move out of the danger zone with that. Now, the price drivers for Bitcoin are going to be the demand, the tech adoption, and then the regulation. But there's also, Bitcoin is still very dependent upon inflation, rates, geopolitics have impacted Bitcoin's price. I mean, sometimes Bitcoin moves way too closely to the stock market. As stock market goes up, why does Bitcoin go up? It's supposed to be kind of untethered. It's not supposed to be as closely related, but Bitcoin and the stock market crash and rise together, although we're looking for a decoupling on that. If you look at the 10-year ROI, Bitcoin is at like 7,000%, gold being at 30%. you could see Bitcoin over the last 10 years has been not just a store of value, but an opportunity to gain wealth. And so some of the things that people want to compare when they're looking at Bitcoin and crypto side by side, you have to take into consideration. So what is the price of gold right now? Well, it's sitting at 3,395 per ounce, right? Somewhere around there. Actually, no, now it's down to about 3,354 per ounce. Okay. So the price of gold's pretty stable. Bitcoin recently reached 110. Last month, it was trading around like 95. So it's gone up significantly over the last month. I mean, that's a pretty good rise for a big asset like Bitcoin compared to what gold has seen. Gold goes up slowly but surely in a stable way, and it doesn't crash down. So if you put your money into gold, you might not get big rising, but you won't get big dipping as well. With Bitcoin, you're going to get big rising and big dipping. The key to Bitcoin, most people have always said, you can dollar cost average or just buy the dips. Anytime Bitcoin goes down, people buy, they end up usually looking in a pretty good situation over a 5-year, but even over a 6-month or a yearly, they end up in a pretty good situation. But usually you need to take a 5-year position on that, or a 5-year perspective. But it never takes 5 years. It's just that 5-year perspective gives you longevity in your mental peace, right? So the thing that we have to take into consideration: gold, $14.6 trillion market cap. Bitcoin, $1.34 trillion market cap. So what happens when Bitcoin and gold reach the same market cap, start really competing? That's what everyone's anticipating. What's the price of Bitcoin going to be when that happens? Oh, people say it'll be around $688,000 per Bitcoin. So you could be looking at, 6 or 7x on Bitcoin price to get to the gold parity. So do you see gold doing 6x, 5x, 3x, 2x? I think you could say that it's possible that gold does a 3x. But if gold does a 3x and goes to, say, I don't know, $45 trillion market cap, so is Bitcoin just going to stay at 14 trillion and just be where gold is now? Or does Bitcoin end up catching gold at 45 trillion? So what happens to the price of Bitcoin? Well, it's well over $1 million. So from this point moving forward, it seems like the momentum is with Bitcoin. The regulation seems to be with Bitcoin. The tech innovation seems to be with Bitcoin. The scarcity seems to be with Bitcoin. This is just opinions, not professional financial advice. We're just looking at the projections of the future. The things that could hold back Bitcoin, you have to take that into consideration. The regulations, maybe some sort of tech fiasco. I mean, if solar flares happen, or if like doomsday happened, the internet crashed, so having a little bit of gold is probably a good idea as well. I mean, you'd want to hedge your Bitcoin with some gold, right? So you wouldn't want to go fully all in with Bitcoin. I think that's a little bit too risky. But if you're looking at things without the Chicken Little, the sky is falling potential, where what could go wrong, which you should always bake into the cake, what could go wrong. But there's that saying, what could go wrong will go wrong, right? Well, I think long-term Bitcoin technologically has something going for it. But yeah, actually, if Bitcoin matched gold's market cap today, I just punched this in there, one Bitcoin would be worth over $730,000. Many Bitcoin bulls use this logic to justify long-term upside potential, calling BTC digital gold. So you can see this is something that it's on the radar. Hey, what's going on, Morgan? So we've got 9 people watching, several people smashing up the likes. I can do more live streams. If you guys like these live streams and you want more of them, turn on that bell and you'll get notified every time a live stream comes out. But I want to continue to interact, doing live streams, live interactives with you guys. So let me know what you guys think. Gold or Bitcoin, which one are you guys jumping into for a store of value or even to grow your wealth? So looking forward to hearing from you guys, and we'll finish this one up here. And thank you, Morgan, for the comment, and everyone for liking the video. See you all in the next one. Ghost Rider, BTC.